Patrick, guess what came in the mail today?
Oh, what?
This.
Stick it in!
You, GLY, you ain't got no alibi, you ugly, yeah, you ugly, you ugly, bitch. You, GLY, you ain't got no alibi.
Welcome back, Royal Nation, to another installment of Royal View, where you get a better insight of each king and queens behind the scene. I'm your host, Cheno Royal, baby. I'm here with, what's your name, sir?
Hey, my name is Zach Vessels.
Hey, Mr. Zach Vessels, how you doing today?
Dude, I'm doing pretty good, just ready to take on the week. How about you?
Oh, man, like we talked about, man, I need that caffeine in my system right now, man. Everything's a little too groggy for me right now this early in the morning, man.
Exactly, but hey, glad we were able to make it work, so.
Yes, sir. You got any big plans for the day?
Oh, man, just started the week. Got some video pre-production stuff that I got to get worked out, some editing, things like that. It's pretty much a maintenance week, just getting ready for kind of the end of the year. Got a few big projects coming up and stuff like that, but really just kind of put my head down and get some busy work off my plate before I, take on the rest.
Of course. And I heard you talking about earlier, you were talking about your plate was full earlier and you just got off a big weekend. Like what was going on with that?
So I run a video production company here in Fort Wayne and just been kind of like, got shoots left and right, a lot of social media things, some commercial work, and then just some of my own personal things. Some of the big projects that I've been really focusing on is my demo reel, my 2024 demo reel. I'm one of those guys that cranks out an example of his new work every year. And the way I do that is in the form of a demo reel. So it's just a really cool video. It's always under 2 minutes, and I just chop up the best bits of my year, my favorite projects, favorite looks, favorite shots, and put that together in an edit. And then I use that video to market myself really, really hard for that following year. And it's just a great way to kind of get me connected with different people, some that I've worked with, some that I haven't, kind of get to see, like what type of work I get into. And then that, helps me continue to get work for my business. So yeah, it's always something I try to work really hard on. And that's kind of been in the zone I've been in right now.
That's awesome, man. Well, let's go ahead and like take a little time machine to go all the way back in time a little. Walk me through how you even got into like shooting any reels or even just doing photography or any of that stuff, man. Do you just come out the womb and you're like, hey, mom, give me this camera? I already know what I'm doing.
No, I didn't go down like that. So I'm born and raised here in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I went to Homestead High School and just kind of got into like journalism there. So I was doing like sports photography for like the yearbook, newspaper, stuff like that. And I kind of just got really into it, but I had no idea what I was doing. I was shooting automatic. I just like ran with it. I had no idea even how to really use the camera, but that at least got me like connected to it and like really getting a passion for just any sort of camera work. And ended up going to college in Ohio, where I started shooting like music videos, like hip hop music videos. And I was just like, wow, I really love shooting videos way more than photography. Like photography is awesome. Don't get me wrong. Never going to knock photography because it's what got me into it. But yeah, I just really got a passion for like storytelling and working with artists to kind of like bring their vision to life. And I think that's kind of just what like was the catalyst to like me getting to where I wanted to do video production full time. And if I could do music videos every day, I would. That's definitely my most like enjoyable type of work I do. But I love storytelling for commercial work. I love marketing. I love like how you can present yourself on social media through video. And really there's not an aspect of it I don't enjoy. So yeah, that's just kind of how I kind of got started, and it just, never looked back.
Was there like a specific moment, like when you were out in like Ohio, like did you shoot like one specific video that you're like, oh my God, like all the light bulbs clicked off? You're like, oh my gosh, like this is the world. Like,
yeah. It honestly was probably the first music video I worked on. There was a couple local artists there called, their names was Roscoe Noe and Bird the Voice in Bowling Green, Ohio. And they came up to me like, hey, we see you have a camera. Do you want to shoot a music video? And I didn't even want to tell them. I had never shot one yet. Like I didn't even know how to sync the music MP3 to the video. I was like, yeah, let's do it. And I was just, looking up at YouTube and stuff at the time. And I was like, okay, I can do this. That seems easy enough, knowing no idea what I'm getting into. But I think I was just out there with them, and it was just like fun and seeing how excited they got looking at the footage, how excited I got, coming up with ideas. And it was actually funny. I didn't even know how to color correct at the time. So I just like threw a black and white filter on it. Said, let's go black and white. It's cool and artsy. And they're like, all right, cool. And so I didn't even know how to do half the things I was doing, but I just ran with it. And I think that's a, fun way to approach that kind of stuff. But yeah, that was definitely the moment.
Did you end up going to school for like photography and cinematography? Like, did you go to school for all this
Yeah.
stuff, or like
Sort of. So like it was, I went to school of like college was 2011 through 2014. And it was kind of like a major that like video production wasn't as popular as it is like right now, especially with like social media marketing and stuff. Right. So they just kind of like lumped it into a huge major called visual communication. And that was just like, hey, you can do photo, video, web, print, you name it. There's just a ton of stuff there. So it wasn't like a film degree or, cinematographer degree, but like you got to at least experience that route there. There weren't many classes to go with it, but I was like, that was enough to figure out this is what I want to do. So, yeah.
Would you say like a majority of it is like kind of like you're picking up different things on your own as you go, like down the road? Like, so like you're kind of like in like when it pertains to that degree, obviously it's so broad, but then like when you keep going down the road, you're carving your own niche, so to speak. Like, is that something like you would say?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. So I think it was, like I said, I didn't get too much out of the major besides like, a little bit of formal education on it. The rest came out in the field. Like just, I did a couple internships and that's where I got my hands on it. I worked at a church. So I was doing videos with their team and I figured out, oh, you can use these to market yourself on social media. And that's how I figured out that. And then ended up working at a marketing agency. And that really dived into like the world of video for commercial work. And I was like, oh man, there's so much more. And I learned at every job I kind of had, and it was kind of cool because I went in not knowing 100% what that job would do with video, but each one had just kind of its own recipe for it. And it was like, oh, I could do that here. And then it just like out of being in college for like, I don't know, I've been out almost 10 years now, which is crazy. That dates me a bit. But I was like, dang, I think I can do this out on my own. I got enough of those like established, like kind of, I established myself on kind of what I want to do with it, and I've made connections and I've grown, and I was like, all right, I think I'm going to just go out and do video production full time. And I think that's kind of where it's landed now. Yeah.
Where was that like break at, like when you were like, what, I'm a little bit more comfortable now to like actually, kind of leave the nest, so to speak, and take a chance? Like, when was that?
Ooh, it came late because honestly, I always saw myself as somebody who kind of needed that like dependability of a 9-to-5. Like I need to know where that next check came from, and I didn't think I would be able to do that. And I was kind of locked in that mindset for a long time. And it was probably I've only been out on my own this year. So like a year before that, I started thinking, I've learned so much from my last job, and I've worked with so many great people. I've learned how to make connections outside of the office. I've learned how to just represent myself as a business owner and a person who can like grow a network and make these connections. And I think it was like, it wasn't that far out. It wasn't until like I was like really established into my career that I was like, you know what, I think I have the confidence now to do this and go out on my own. So it came like not even a year and a half ago. Like I was telling my coworkers, they asked me if they ever saw myself going out on my own. I'm like, no, I don't. And then like less than a year later, it changed. It's just so quick. And it's just like, wow, I think I can do this. And it's, I haven't looked back since. I love it.
Right. What was there like a specific thing that changed your mind, or like was it more of just like you coming into it of your own? Like, did anything push you at all?
Yeah, it was honestly relationships that changed my mind. So like I founded this little non-for-profit called Creator Space, which is an organization where creators get together once a month and make connections and network and hopefully form like relationships outside of our walls on their projects. So I founded that thing, and that was really just a way for me to get reconnected to the creative community here in Fort Wayne. But as I started meeting more people and seeing how many people wanted that same kind of like goal in their career and just like forming these relationships, I connected with a bunch of videographers, and I got to grow my network through that too, as well as hosting opportunities for people to make connections. And I was like, man, I got a lot of support here. I got people that are all trying to do the same thing. Like, that's just really motivating. And I think seriously, it was just like meeting people who like-minded people that either are doing it already and have been doing it, or that are trying to get to doing it. And I was like, those conversations just kind of I think I get inspired off people, and that's just really where it came down to.
That's awesome, man. Now looking at all of that, like especially all the amazing moments that you could see like in a metaphorical wall right here, and you're like looking
Yeah.
back on all that, even though as like an entrepreneur, as an artist, like you're probably tending to look forward, and you're just like, all right, what's next? Like, what's going on? What we got going on? What is some of those moments on the wall that you can look back and be like, man, like I'm really glad, like I really did that.
Man, I think there's a couple. Like early on, like I said, I worked at a church right out of college, and that wasn't where I saw myself working. But my buddy there, who's the media director, kind of gave me an opportunity, and I think that was a really cool place because he gave me. I applied to probably 300 places when I graduated college, and no one would give me a shot because I didn't have any, real life work experience. But the church did, so that was kind of cool, and I got to like develop my skills there. And he taught me everything video that I know today. Like he was exactly the person who got me like that real life experience. So I worked there for 4 years, and then honestly, the next chapter was the marketing agency I worked at. Like that was my I think graduation to working on bigger sets, bigger teams. Like you got 10 people working on one single project versus where I've been doing it was either all me or just one other person. And so like to go from that to get to develop this idea of collaboration, I was like, oh, so my work's good now, but it's now 10 times better because I got all these other people here, who do the graphic design, who do the copywriting, and all I got to focus on is knocking out the video, and that makes our whole product better. So I think those two things were just like I see them as stepping stones on what led it to be like, okay, now here you are, you got all these pieces, see if you can do this type of collaboration, but through your own business. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Moving into kind of like the future, and like obviously like looking at where you came from, looking at how you came up, like what is something that you would tell people that are aspiring or thinking about doing what you're doing as well? Like what's some of the steps that you could offer and be like, hey man, probably look at this, not this sort of thing.
I think one thing that's a super common, especially now with just as much social media and content there is, which is a great resource for like learning, and like they call it like YouTube University. You can learn about anything you want. But I think which is a great tool, but I would tell people to like see if you can identify that like niche or that area that you want to work on, and try not to take it all in like one bite at a time. Because like, for example, for me, it was videography, but like there are so many hats that you can wear on set, right? You can be the animator, you can be the grip, lighting department, director, AC, first AC, all those roles that come with being a videographer. And if you're trying to just learn to develop this career, it can be super overwhelming, and you can get lost on YouTube, all these different things. I would say just like, hey, figure out the first starting thing that you just want to explore, and take that on at a time, or take that area on first. Whether it's through like learning on YouTube or connecting with other people and to learn, try not to get overwhelmed by it all, because there's so much, and you can always keep learning in your career and then grow yourself. But like get that foundation first, and then figure out, okay, I actually just want to focus on editing. That is where I thrive right now. And I'm going to connect myself with friends who are the DPs, who are the shooters. And then I'll be like, okay, now I got a network and I got a team of supporters, and go from there. And if it's cool, if you want to keep learning and tackle all those things, like, hey, if you want to be an animator, editor, and shooter, that's awesome. That's incredible. But don't try to be that person right off the bat, because that's a lot to learn, and you might get discouraged because of what's all out there. And that you don't want to do that, because you can do it, so just take off a bite at a time. Yeah.
Right. Do you think it's very easy, like, to go ahead and like start, like, maybe like you find certain success in like one field and you start branching out a little bit too much, and you need it, like, you might go through a period of like reeling it back in?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's exciting, right? Like, especially if you're a new business owner or a freelance business person, like, it can be really cool when you get like all this, I don't know, want to say energy or something, where you got like a lot of work coming in. But,
Right.
That's the thing about being a freelancer, full-time on your own. There's kind of like hills to it. There's some times where you're really busy, and there may be like winter comes and nobody's doing any productions, or nobody wants to shoot outside. And it's like, man, I could have a month with no shoots scheduled. And I'm like, dang, how am I going to pay bills? So like try to not like get super freaked out about that, but just know that like there are rises and falls as you kind of, you know, start your business or develop your business or figure out your business. And that's just kind of, you know, the waves of the ride there. And just, you know, work with other creators, make connections with other people who do the same thing, and that can kind of help you, especially if they've been doing it longer. I got several friends that have been doing it longer than me, and they give me tips when I need it, because I'm like, man, I don't have any forecasted work, like I'm panicking, and they're like, hey, don't worry, your last month is good, like, you know, they can kind of reassure you or even be mentors to you. Yeah.
Like, oh shoot, like I don't know what to do. Like, honey,
Yeah,
grab all the stuff in the safe.
right, start selling stuff on eBay, like, you know. But shoot, yeah,
right.
it's just
What's something that you do kind of like to like decompress a little bit to help you reel back in?
yeah, man. Like I said, music was like my first love, so I always love listening to music. I'm big into just following like the artists I like. I love going to concerts. I'm a big gamer, so I like I got a PlayStation, so I'd be playing different games there and just kind of like doing stuff like that. But I also like to like work out and just do stuff that are outside. Yeah, those things kind of just help me relax. Oh man, did we
There's
lose
certain
signal? Oh, I think we lost. Sorry, we glitched out there. For a
Oh
little
my
bit.
God. I thought the aliens were coming to get him. I was like, no, I got it on film right here, right now.
Right? No. I think you just glitched out there for a bit. I don't know where we lost you at though.
Oh no. But I was gonna go ahead and say, like, is there like any like situations like where it's like harder than others? Like maybe it takes a little bit more time. Maybe like you need to like, you know, pull back a little bit more than others. Like
Yeah, I think it's important to figure out, which is something I'm still figuring out, how much you can fit on your plate. Because like I used to work at a place that kind of assigned my roles through like, you know, like the month or even weekly. And so I kind of knew exactly what I had to do because they managed it all for me. But now I'm doing that all myself. So figuring out how much I can say yes to, you know, sometimes I got to say no. And that honestly feels pretty cool too, because that helps me kind of control the path or direction I want to go. And sometimes a job isn't just like a right fit. And it's either because my timing's like I'm too full, or it's just not something I want to do right now. And that's kind of like a relief to be able to say that too at the same time, because I've gotten to the point where it's like, you know what, I don't really want to do that type of work anymore. And it was nice to do a little bit of those in the beginning, but it's just like, you know, I don't need to do that. And I'm going to separate myself from that kind of lane. And so, yeah, just stuff like that, you kind of learn. And, you know, it changes as the time changes, like anything. Sometimes you may need to recircle back and do stuff like that. But if you do keep growing, you get to kind of just like focus in on that area that you do want to be on. Yeah.
of course, man. Hey, bro, I definitely appreciate you for sliding out, showing me some love this early in the morning.
Hey,
I know like
no
all the birds are
problem.
still chirping and
Yeah,
the caffeine
man.
ain't hitting in.
Not quite yet, but it will soon, and I'm ready for it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But I only got one more question before you get back out there. Keep shooting, keep killing it out there.
Yeah.
And that is, where do you see all this stuff going in the next couple of years? Like, what's the overall end game of Mr. Zach?
Man. That's a great question, right? And I feel like it's always evolving. But I love to see my business grow, and the areas that I would love for it to grow first in is like size of productions. I think I'm starting to really develop some connections here of a crew I like it's my go-to crew, but I'm also always looking to expand that. So I think I want to start like scaling up those jobs so I can do less work through the year, but like bigger productions, and, you know, kind of make sure like my plate's still full, but I say no to more work, so because I have those larger scale productions. So that's definitely something I want to do. You know, one day I think it'd be really cool to have a studio, and I don't know if that's like a 5-year plan. That's probably going to be a much longer year plan than that. But
Right.
you know, have some sort of like mixed studio base where it's like a film set or like sound stage where you can kind of swap out the looks. But also I really want that stage or that venue to be able to have access to like students and like not only like commercial people that are trying to use it for work and productions, but I want there to be able like access to all levels of production, whether you just graduated high school, college, and you just want to get on set to learn things. You know, maybe there's some like ways to do some like tiers of rates, or even like free for students, you know, if we're doing well enough and stuff like that. So like I want to be able to have some sort of film studio space that like anybody can access or reserve. That would be really cool. And yeah, I think just keep growing my business in the sense of the clients I work with, the connections I make. Me and my wife one day want to have kids, so that's something on the radar too. She's getting her doctorate right now and just doing some really cool stuff in that world. She's the way smarter one than I am. I'm the creative. She's like smart, like genius girl. And so like we're getting her established there, and then kids will be on the future at some point. So yeah, man, just family and career life is just like sharpening those swords and making them strong.
That's what's up, man. Hey, like I said, I appreciate you for coming on out, showing us your vision, showing us everything you got going on. Ever since I came across your page, love what I see, love everything you do, big fan. So definitely that. And who knows, definitely need to work on some stuff. Like you said, if you need some people to ever be like, if you ever need help with anything, I'm always down. I'm always willing to help anybody out wherever I can. So yeah, awesome. Definitely appreciate you. But hey, go ahead, shout out any place we can find you, because we need to find you.
Yeah, I'm pretty active on Instagram on my Top Tier Media. That's the best way to kind of connect there. And then my website, same thing, toptiermedia.com. And yeah, just follow me there and see what kind of productions we get into, behind the scenes, fun stuff like that. It's a great way to connect with me too if you need to shoot me a DM or a message. So yeah, hit up those channels.
Awesome. All that stuff will be down right there in the description. It'll be all his links, anything you need to find where he's got, and definitely check him out. Like I said, man, ain't one to play with. If you need this stuff and you need it done right, hit up my man. He's got everything you need. But until next time, I appreciate you, sir. Stay royal out there. Peace.
Yeah.